Hey everyone, welcome to Art and Alchemy. This is Soumya. In today's video, I'm going to give you all a tour of my sketchbook. Before we move on with the flip through though, do take a moment to subscribe to my channel for more art related content. I'd love to see you here more often, so don't forget to hit the bell icon too. Now without further ado, let's jump right into the video. The sketchbook that I'm currently using is from Art Angle. This is a Vincent van Gogh A5 sketchbook with 160 pages of 120 GSM each. I started using this back in May 2021. It is not entirely complete yet. There's about half of it still left. Since the sketchbook is bulky and thick, I decided it would be better if I split the tour in two parts. That way I can keep the video relatively short. Also, since it's New Year, I wanted to experience a fresh start even if it is in the same sketchbook. So you'll see all the artworks from May to December 2021 in the sketchbook. That's about it. Let's open it up to see what's inside. For the first page of the sketchbook, I wrote down my name with a minimal looking illustration along with the day that I started using the sketchbook. On the left hand side, I added a pocket to store all my ideas and the value scales in color pencil and graphite. I normally protect each spread with a piece of butter paper to avoid transferring and smudging of the colors, but for sake of this video, I removed and put them aside. Starting with this painting, this was the first time I ever tried gouache. This is one of my favorite plants we have and I painted it live sitting in my balcony. I love how beautiful this plant looks against the brick wall. The next few sketches are the ones I made in order to demonstrate the different techniques and the strokes that you can use with color pencils. All these sketches are done for a color pencil workshop I organized back in June. We sketched this cute pier together in the workshop and it turned out to be so much fun. These are some monochromatic sketches I made and I really love how they look. The next painting is one of my favorites. This was when I was getting used to gouache and I remember enjoying the process a lot for this particular painting. I love how the details of the boat turned out. In the next spread, I practiced some fashion sketches and few outfits I really liked from Pinterest. I particularly loved the one on the left with cool tones. This was entirely done in watercolors, while the ones on the right are done in color pencils and fine liners. I actually wanted to practice line drawing with my fountain pen. I was supposed to do 4 such sketches, but I ended up doing only one. I had an intention to come back to it later, but I never did. Moving on, this spread is from the time when the second wave of COVID hit real hard and it took a lot of time for us to come out of the panic and anxiety it created. I also tested positive for COVID with mild symptoms around this time, so I desperately needed to cheer myself up, which is why I chose these very bright colors. Also, this is a self-portrait and it is entirely done in watercolors. For the next spread, I was just practicing some typography and lettering. I did this in gouache and the background is done in watercolors. This sketch is a portrait study and I did this using a red chalk pencil. I use this pencil a lot for sketching other than graphite. This painting is of the very famous and talented Amanda Rachley. Most of you must know her. She posted a picture of hers from Vancouver and I just had to paint it, Everything about the picture was so perfect. I especially loved the colors of the sky. On the right side, I tried to make Amanda look like a Studio Ghibli character based on Kiki. I love these two pages individually, but the spread isn't very cohesive in my opinion because of the different styles of the paintings and the mediums that I used. The next spread is a sketch of my desk setup while I was studying. I had an exam the next day and I was getting super bored studying. So I decided to take a break and I very quickly sketched how my desk looked at that moment. I used watercolors and color pencils in only these two shades. Alright, this is the outcome of a lazy afternoon I spent in my sketchbook. I simply drew the curved lines that intersect each other to create these different shapes. I then chose a color palette and randomly filled the shapes in. The best part of this painting was outlining these curved lines in black color, and I used a liner brush for that. It was super satisfying. Next, these two portrait sketches are of my close relatives. I stayed at their place for a couple of days and sketched their portraits while I was there. The next spread is my favorite again. This was the first time I painted food and it's entirely done in watercolors. We went to this restaurant called Haiku, which serves Asian cuisine in Hyderabad. It was my first time eating such yummy Asian food, so I obviously had to capture that memory. No, I didn't paint this in the restaurant because I was too busy enjoying the food, but I painted this later from the photographs we took earlier. I also tried to use the similar font and a few doodles from their menu. That's about it. This is a view of Hussain Sagar Lake, which I painted very quickly from life. The next spread is all messed up. You'll see why in a moment. These are sketches from my recent trip to Araku, Anantagiri and Wanjangi near Vizag. The train journey from Vizag to Araku was full of breathtaking views of the valley, waterfalls and tunnels. The most challenging part was to sketch these views in a limited color palette because those were the only color pencils I carried with me. I highly regret not taking the green color pencil because every place we visited was very lush and vibrant with greenery. Alright, moving on. For this spread, I had nothing particular in my mind. I simply wanted to dabble with paints and relax for a bit. I used dye-based ink for this painting and I kept playing around with it until I was satisfied. As you can see, I splattered a lot of paint because honestly, that's the best part. The ink kind of bled into the previous sketch, making it look very ugly, but that's all a part and parcel of experimenting with new mediums. It's just a lesson learned. The next spread is a simple portrait in watercolors and color pencils. I didn't use any reference here. The only reference I used is for the leaves that I photographed from our community's landscaping. This is yet another dabble with paint session where I used a very broad brush to create these weird shapes. Then I went ahead and added these botanical doodles and not forgetting the splatters. That there is the end of the show, my friends. I will use up the rest of the sketchbook this year. Stay tuned to see how they turn out. Also, comment your favorite spread or painting down below. Drop a like and share it with your friends and family. Thank you so much for joining the tour today. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye everyone.